And welcome back, everybody, to Let's Play Sonic Origins Plus. In the last episode, we went through Hydra City Zone of Sonic 3. In today's episode, we are going to continue our rompage through Sonic 3 by taking on the third zone of the game, and kind of a personal favorite of mine. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite zone in Sonic 3, but it's I would say it's up there with a lot of the other zones, mainly because of the aesthetic is really kind of cool and everything else, and you don't get to see it very often, except in, like, you know, you don't get to see it very often, I'll just put it that way. But without further ado, let's head on to Marble Garden Zone. I like this zone a lot, especially since you start falling and you start running and everything else, and I just like the aesthetic of this. I like the music of Marble Garden Zone too. I don't know, just like I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's a very funky tune, and I really like it. But most of Marble Garden kind of goes around, well, marbles and marble rocks and whatnot, and like clay and everything else. And then you got like cool gimmicks of the zone in particular. We'll be getting into some of them later. Right here, we get up here to this part and we spin dash into this area here, and you got giant spike balls, but that's the mini boss of the level. You could get a few pot shots on him right there. He goes into the wall, drills into the wall, and he kind of erodes the ground a little bit. And that's another thing with this, the theming of this zone is kind of erosion in general. We'll be seeing that more in Act 2. Act 2 has erosion as a main thing about it. This is kind of dangerous water. I guess this would be mud. If you stay in it too long, you will die. So I like these enemies. They're the fake spikes, so you can just bounce on them like that. I think that's kind of funny. But yeah, like, it's like mud. If you get stuck in the mud and you start sinking, you'll get killed easily. If you come up to one of these wheels and spin dash, you'll cause a lot of like platforms to rise. But here's the main gimmick of Marble Garden Zone is the tops here. If you run in a direction, you'll kind of power the top and make it fly a little bit. But if the top touches the ground, it'll go really far. And if you get hit, unfortunately, you'll lose your top. But it's kind of a cool little mechanic. You're going to be using the top here to, well, you're going to be using the top in order to break some of the ground, because some of the ground can't be destroyed easily with normal like hedgehog weight, I guess, hedgehog weight, or breaking it with a jump attack or whatever. Yeah, you're gonna use that top in order to pretty much take care of it. But yeah, I like the zone. I like the badniks in the zone. I like the little like pufferfish, needle pufferfish here. I don't know what those are called, but I always like those guys. You kind of have to watch out for whenever they're exposing their needles before you jump into them. Hopefully we can find one Chaos Emerald in the zone. Yeah, here's another thing with the top here. And I kind of changed the animation here. Normally before that, you would just keep going back and forth in between those things there. But normally, now in the updated version of Sonic 3, they made it so he actually goes around the pillars and whatnot. I think that's kind of funny. Or not funny, but like, I think that's kind of cool. I kind of want to keep my electric shield, because electric shield's really good in this zone. I'm hoping I can find a special stage. I think there's one right here, actually, if I remember correctly. No, there's just rings here. Why do I think that there's a special stage around here somewhere? I guess it's later, I'm thinking of. I'm trying to get up here. These slopes are just enough height that you can't just run up it normally. You have to kind of give yourself some sort of speed in order to do it. Wait, is this it? Or is this back in the... Yeah, these are back when the capsules I just broke. Man, I'm gonna already lose my memory. I just was there. Alright. Oh, we got giant spike balls everywhere. I want to try to keep my 200 rings. Yeah, that didn't last very long. That's okay. Flame shield should do well here, I think. I prefer the electric shield because, well, I guess I'm just not allowed to have a shield in, but I usually like the electric shield in this zone because the double jump really helps out a lot. You got these little like tiki heads here, and you kind of have to hit the third eye on it whenever it exposes itself in order to get to the lower levels there. What am I pushing? That's weird. Anyways, yeah, they shoot arrows, so you have to kind of be careful when you're ducking beneath them. Oh, here's a special stage right here. Okay, cool. I knew one of these had a special stage. All right, so this is the 7th special stage. So once we do this one, we'll have all 7 Chaos Emeralds. So that'll be nice. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here. Usually I would probably save these for last, but I think there's multiple like areas that have like one sphere in the middle. They're like that, or 4 spheres in the middle that are by themselves. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm having a hard time talking today. I'm sorry, guys. And then again, I always have a hard time talking. You guys know me over the years. It's kind of hard for me to communicate sometimes, and I don't know. It's hard for me to articulate things sometimes. Like one thing I've always talked about over the years is like my brain moves a lot faster than my mouth does, and that's like, I don't know if that's because, well, I don't know if that's because of just how I'm wired or whatever, but yeah, it's just like that's how over the years is like I've always had trouble having speech classes. Like I had to have speech classes growing up and everything else, and it's hard to do like talk in general, which is kind of weird when I come to think about it, because I do Let's Plays a lot. I did Let's Plays for so many years. You'd think I'd be good at talking, but nah, it's just how I am. But then again, that's just what makes me me, right? Okay. Well, that's good. I did that the first try. This is the 7th Chaos Emerald. And now we have all the Chaos Emeralds. Unfortunately, I probably should have saved those by themselves spheres for last if I wanted to get perfect, but that's okay. Who cares? Who cares about perfect? It's a score, that's all it is. And extra lives. That's fine. Alright, so now we have unlocked Super Sonic in Sonic 3. Super Sonic works, okay. Super Sonic works exactly the same in Sonic 2 as it does here. If you push up and you push X, or yeah, X in my case, because I'm playing the Switch version, you'll turn into Super Sonic and you will go really fast. You'll have kind of like really fast momentum and whatnot, and you're invincible, and your ring count will slowly drain over time. Nothing can kill you. It's really cool. Unfortunately, if you really like the music Sonic 3, unfortunately it's just replaced with you know, the invincibility theme of Sonic 3, which has been changed. I think this was changed in the updated version of Origins. The music in Sonic 3 in general has changed a lot, and I think this is our first instance of it happening. But yeah, like they had to change a lot of the music in Sonic 3 in order to port this over to Origins. Namely because going to a bonus stage. Booyah. Okay. But yeah, it's because Michael Jackson and his team had some work in the soundtrack of Sonic 3 back in 1994 when this game released. Yeah, Michael Jackson himself had some input in this game. And they had the hardest time having the music, because now it's licensed music because Michael Jackson made it and everything else, and that's why this game's never really been ported that much. Like, sure, it had its releases in like certain things like the Mega Collection on the GameCube and the what is it, the Classics collections on the Xbox. and whatever Sega compilation they usually have. Anyways, we're here at the boss. This boss is nothing. It's a repeat boss of Mystic Cave Zone Act 2's boss. You just have to watch the ceiling. He goes back up to the ceiling, causes stalactites to fall down. You gotta watch out for the spiked stalactites while they're falling down, and you just attack him. This boss is like super easy, but yeah, like now this game had a lot of trouble being ported. I think it was more so after Michael Jackson passed away and the rights to his music. I don't know. I'm talking out of. I'm just talking. I have no factual evidence behind me or whatever, but I think it had something to do after Michael Jackson passed away that, I don't know, the rights of the music might be kind of complicated. I don't know. I'm not a copyright owner. But yeah, they didn't port Sonic 3 for the longest time, and they had to replace a lot of all the Michael Jackson music with new tracks, and that was the first instance here. Anyways, get a sneak peek of the Eggman boss, just like we did in Act 1. It's kind of cool. But yeah, like it's kind of weird. They replaced a lot of the music, and they kind of went with the I don't know how to describe. I don't know what kind of music this is. I don't know if it's like the PC version of it or whatnot back when the game came out back in the day, but they replaced it with like versions of it isn't the one for one the PC version music of certain sound clips, or sorry, certain music tracks. But yeah, like we'll be seeing it especially in the next zone. The next zone had a big change with its music. But yeah, like a lot of the music got changed in Origins. I mean, a lot of people were rightfully upset by it. I'm upset by it, but I understand why it had to be changed, and therefore it doesn't bother me that much. I completely think people are justified for being upset about it, because it's hard to, you know, go on with your life or not, sorry, to make it sound like people are like really angry to the point where like the life is ruined because they changed the music in Sonic 3. Oh my gosh. But no, like I can get it. People being upset is a valid opinion to have. But I also understand that they had to do some changes. And unfortunately, I do agree that the music tracks are kind of bad to be replaced with, mainly because the other zones, the other music clips were really good, so it's like being replaced with an inferior version is kind of disheartening. But yeah, I'll get into more detail about this in the next zone, in the next zone when it's really apparent. I know it's talked about most of the time here in Marble Garden Zone, but I didn't really talk about like most of the stuff that's going on in Act 2. Act 2, we got pulleys that pull us up the hill and whatnot. We got introduction to Grasshopper by Badniks, which I kind of like the Grasshopper because I just like bugs in general. So I think like grasshoppers and praying mantis are cool. So like I'm perfectly fine with that Badnik. I mean, great. I say praying mantis. I hate slicers from Sonic 2, but yeah, like I like these enemies. I like insects. One of my favorite Pokemon is Heracross for a reason. So, anyways, I just like stag beetles. That's why. But, anyways, enough side tangents. We're just gonna come over here and keep going through here. I talked about erosion being a big thing in Act 2 of Marble Garden Zone. We're getting there. We're getting to the point. I like doing this, by the way. When you're on the wheel here, you can just, you know, get on top of it and then bounce off with a spin dash. I think that's funny. I always do that whenever I see those. But yeah, we're gonna get to the part with erosion, and I kind of had, when I was younger, this is how I learned what the word erosion meant, because I think it was my dad, when I was explaining to him why ground crumbles and stuff like that over time, and he explained it to me that erosion is a thing, and I was like, oh, that's what that is. One little thing about the instant shield I forgot to mention, you can kind of like, you can, I'm gonna try to do it with this guy here, whenever it is, but yeah, you can kind of extend his hitbox just a little bit and still get him whenever he has a spike set, because as long as you use the instant shield. The instant shield is a really good mechanic in Sonic 3. I love this mechanic so much. Stupid tiki head, go away. Okay, come down here, open up this area here, and this is gonna be our second appearance of Eggman. Man, you got 2 appearances in this zone. We're not even at the boss yet. Here's the erosion part. Yeah, after this part, the ground's gonna start shaking. It's like an earthquake's happening. And eventually, the ground is gonna start eroding downwards to form a new path. So I always like this little part of Marble Garden Zone. You have to be quick because if you're not quick, you will get crushed by like falling pillars and stuff like that. But I always like this part. I think this part was cool as a kid. And then you come over here and you just wait until it gets up, and then there we go. We're at, I think we're getting close to the boss of Act 2 here, so we're almost at the end of the stage. I'm gonna go here and, oh, got a bubble, just an empty bubble. And not a bubble shield, it was just an empty bubble. Yeah, that's okay. I don't want to spend too much time in the bonus zones, because the bonus zones don't really give you anything unless I really need a shield for whatever reason. I keep running right into these enemies here. I like this thing, and I think it's the Origins version. They made like the details of the spikes spinning on that platform a lot better in Origins. I think that's kind of cool. Anyways, but they weren't as fancy as that was in the original. They were just, you know, like 2 frames a second of the spike spinning around. All right, we're here at the boss, and this is probably my favorite boss in Sonic, like normal boss. So Eggman's gonna come down here and he's gonna just erode the ground away. Oh no, what am I gonna do? We're gonna take to the skies. Tails is gonna lift us up, and you just kind of have to come over here and just, you know, attack him normally. You gotta watch where he goes in the background to get an idea where he is going. So he's gonna come up from to the left over here. And you just come over here and you attack him like normal. Don't worry if you fall off the ground, Tails goes back down and grabs you, so you're not in any trouble whatsoever. But I love this boss. This boss is probably my favorite boss, normal boss in Sonic 3. Marble Garden Zone is just a great zone. I love this zone. But that's the end of it. We got all the Chaos Emeralds. I'm happy about that. So, all right. And I love this transition. It gets steadily nighttime, and we're here into our next zone, Carnival Night Zone, the bane of my childhood. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next episode of Let's Play Sonic Origins, where we take on Carnival Night Zone in Sonic 3. Take care, everyone.